Start a series for our teachers in training and just also continuing education. Um, I'm in my home office, so I've kind of set up my mat in here because that's what I have access to at home. I don't have very much equipment at home. I don't have any equipment at home. I have a circle and some props and things like that, but no reformer. The mat, though, is where everything started. So Joseph Pilates wrote his book Return to Life. He started out with these 34 mat exercises, and this all started during World War One. And Joseph Pilates was a German national, and he was captured by the British and was put in an internment camp. And that's where we think the 34 exercises was developed. And that would make the most sense because realistically, if you actually think about this critically, Joseph Pilates couldn't have had access to springs like 4 foot long springs in prison. So, and also there's a story that I learned when I was going through Pilates teacher training that he was rehabilitating British guards, and I just don't think that like a prisoner would be rehabilitating guards. So, read Caged Lion. That'll give you the most accurate account of how Pilates started and the history and all of that. Even though Joseph Pilates did not communicate very well. I mean, I don't think English was his first language, first off, so telling his story probably just didn't happen. Um, so, yeah, Return to Life. This is the original Contrology. That's what Joseph Pilates called his work. I'm going to start out with the 100. Okay, so the 100 is the first mat exercise in in the book. And the 100 is a super challenging exercise because he basically says lay down flat on your back, crunch up, chest lift, reach the arms forward, hover the feet 2 inches off the floor, pump the arms for 100 beats. Now, that's not going to be very accessible to many people, and I'll show you why. So, when I lay down on my mat, as he intended this to be, legs out straight, toes pointed, everything's locked, arms, legs locked. And then he says to curl forward, reach the arms forward, lift the legs 2 inches, and then we're here pumping for 100 beats. So we inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Now, this is a super challenging position to hold in. Your abdominals are working, your neck is working, the entire front line of the body is active, okay? I'm going to break it down a little bit more like pre-Pilates style. So first off, holding the legs out straight and hovering the legs is going to be super challenging just for your whole trunk. So that's going to include your abdominals, your obliques, your back muscles. It's all working synergistically together to stabilize your spine and your core. Now, I might have clients just bend their knees to start, okay, and establish a stable position through the pelvis. The pelvis is the middle of the body. So it's so valuable to know what your hips are doing. And oftentimes the hips are tight and weak and all of the above. So stabilize the pelvis, okay? Finding a neutral position in the pelvis is what we generally do in Pilates, okay? So you could even start with a little posterior tilt to the pelvis and an anterior tilt to the pelvis. So posterior tilt, you want to think about smushing your low back down into the mat. Anterior tilt, you are spilling your pelvis forward and arching the spine a little bit more. So your neutral is going to be somewhere in the middle. You want to think about your ASIS and your pubic symphysis. So your your hip bones and your pubic bone level. So imagine if I were to put a cup of tea or a cup of water on my pelvis, it's going to be level here. You can put the heels of your hands in on your ASIS and then your fingertips on your pubic bone. Now, spill that cup of tea in toward your belly button. Okay, that's your posterior tuck or tilt of the pelvis. Come back to neutral and then spill that cup of tea away from the pelvis, okay, away from the body. That's your anterior tilt of the pelvis. Now, it's valuable and important to know the different positions of the pelvis when we're going into the 100 or any mat exercise, because this I would consider a little more pre-Pilates. We need to break it down to build up the 100, okay? So when my feet when my feet are in a closed kinetic chain, so my feet are connected to the ground, that's going to be a closed kinetic chain, something stable, solid underneath my feet. I'm looking for a neutral pelvis and spine. So pelvis is level. There's a little space in the low back. It's a natural lordotic curvature in your lumbar spine. That means it curves inward. And then you should feel your rib cage heavy down toward the mat because your ribs interdigitate with your thoracic spine. That's a kyphotic curvature of the spine. And then the neck has a natural lordotic curve. So similarly to the low back, your cervical spine curves inward. Now your sacrum, or the lower part of the spine here, um, that is going to have the same curve as your thoracic. So both have kyphotic curvatures. Now I like to think of the spine like a wave. Your hips are down on the mat, your low back goes up off the mat. Your ribs, your thoracic spine goes down on the mat, and then your neck curves off the mat. So if you can imagine this down, up kind of natural curves of the spine, that's gonna be your neutral position. Now on the reformer, I prefer the headrest down so that we can really find this nice neutral neck alignment. Of course, you're gonna have some clients that come in that are have a forward head position. So then when they put their head flat, they're in this hyper extension of the neck. That's where we're going to want to put the headrest up for them so that they have a more neutral neck positioning, okay? So finding neutral with a closed kinetic chain is the first step. Now, when I bring my legs to tabletop or in the 100 position, right, I'm hovering my legs about 2 inches. This is now an open kinetic chain. That's very advanced. Okay, so legs to tabletop position, I would want to imprint or flatten through the low back. So legs find tabletop, and then I want to find a little bit of a imprint or a flat back. Now, I've got a little bit more meat here in my butt, so I need to like tuck my knees in just a bit more, because if I am trying to imprint and have this very nice 90-degree angle, my back is slightly arched because I just have more fat in my butt. So you have to consider the body you're working with. I need to tuck in a little bit more to help keep that imprinted spine. So now with my feet lifted in the air, this is our open kinetic chain, okay? Generally speaking, when you're in open kinetic, you want to smush the low back. So that's going to be a posterior tuck of the pelvis, an imprinted spine. So my low back is now pressing into the mat. That's just going to help to stabilize my spine and pelvis the most, because when clients' legs are starting to drift forward, and this may happen with clients who have heavier legs, their legs are going to start to drift forward, right? Their spine is going to start to arch off the mat here. Their back arches off. That's going to put a little bit more pressure on their lumbar and their low back. And then you'll have clients coming back and saying, my back hurt from Pilates, okay? And it's probably because their hip flexors, your psoas muscle connects straight back into your low back. So when we're having that extra tension there on the hip flexors, right, and it's pulling me out of that imprinted position, it's just gonna it could, I don't want to say it will, but it could put a little more pressure on that low back there. So 100, right? We're thinking about our pelvic position, our spinal position, our shoulder placement. Shoulders should be nice and neutral, flat on the back. Sometimes it's really nice to flip the palms up. This external rotation at the shoulders is going to help to open the chest, take the shoulders away from the ears, and then when I flip my palms down, internal rotation, that's just going to help to keep that posture here in the upper body. Okay, so feet are planted down, I'd say about hip distance apart. You want the balls of the feet, all 10 toes pressing down, and the heel. Think of your foot like a tripod pressing into the ground. Right now I'm in a neutral position, and then we want to start to think about head, neck, and shoulders because that's also part of the 100 as we curl up through the head, neck, and shoulders. So I might start clients here. Arms up, head down, and then just start with the arms as we press down. Exhale, inhale, float those arms back up. All while keeping the shoulders connected, spine in neutral, so tailbone heavy, little space in the low back, and engagement into the breath. So big inhale, big exhale. It's important to breathe into the belly. Oftentimes in Pilates, you're going to hear a three-dimensional breathing through the rib cage, but your pelvic floor sits down here, right, in your pelvis, which connects to your diaphragm, which connects to your lungs, your breath, and everything. So I really prefer a full body breath because if clients are constantly holding in at the abs, they're going to be overly tight in the pelvic floor, and that'll cause a whole host of issues. So inhale, exhale. The chest should move, the belly should move for that full inhale, full exhale. Okay, now we're here, right? We started with the arms going down, coming back up. Now to lift through the head, neck, and shoulders as the arms go down, inhale, prepare. Exhale, curling up through head, neck, and shoulders, reaching the arms long. Now let's check this out. Space between the chin and the chest. My pelvis is still stable. So when I did my chest lift up, I didn't just let my hips tuck and roll. So I wasn't pressing into my feet to make that action happen, okay? So set the pelvis, inhale, exhale, tuck, peel, curl forward. Almost think about your rib cage sliding down toward the pelvis versus everything really tucking in like that, okay? So try to maintain that. And then we can bring the arms back up, okay? Big inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Again, this is very much pre-Pilates. It's important to understand the breath, the pelvis, the spine, the abdominals, the pelvic floor, how everything is working synergistically together. Now, once I've eliminated the feet, right? We're in closed kinetic chain right now. Now, once I've got that down with the chest lift, and I can do this relatively easy without my neck straining too much, then maybe just those arms go up and down. Okay, we can go here. What does this look like? It looks like your supine hands and straps on the reformer. Okay, now moving on, we want to eventually add in that open kinetic chain, right? Legs come to tabletop, arms reach up, inhale, prepare, exhale, tuck, peel, curl forward, and then lower down. Now notice when I do that, I didn't let my knees tuck in toward my chest, okay? Now, it's not wrong if that happens. I just want to be clear, just the nuance of Pilates and what we're trying to achieve with the control and the awareness into what the body is doing, what our clients are doing, what our intention with the movement is, okay? So tabletop, hands up, big inhale, exhale, curl. Legs are stable. Now, how we can start to advance this is exhale, press, curl, reach one leg out, and then bring it back up. And then, of course, alternate. Single leg reach, back up. And then maybe that double leg reach and back up. Now, I want to talk about your body in relation to gravity when you're adding that straight leg reach. Okay? Because right, legs are meant to come down here with our return to life 100, but that's pretty challenging to do. So what we could do is even straighten the legs up to the ceiling, okay? And I can do all the same things. Back up. Now, I would say this is an advancement from our normal tabletop position, and you can do this with hands and straps too. So to advance it one step further, legs up. Legs up is less demand on the core in relation to gravity, which is pushing me down, right? Now, this is going to be a lot harder. 45-degree angle at the hip. Ooh, this is a lot harder because gravity is just trying to push me down to the mat. Okay, so I've given some progressions here, right? Arms up, tabletop, big exhale, crunch. We're getting into that 100 now. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we do. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. So extending the legs out and in, so it's a little more dynamic, not so much time under tension with the 100, or, I can do the same thing here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I can do this here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adding in a leg, lower and lift. Now, if and when we get to this on the reformer, so you have hands and straps, you want to give that option for the full progression. Maybe we're starting here. We exhale, press, crunch, hold, reach the legs under the foot bar. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. I usually don't take clients through the full 100. There's ways to build it into class and break it up versus just doing all 100 beats in like one sitting, okay? So I would also consider like just arms down, legs out, big hundreds. So with hands and straps, up and down with the arms. This is your 100. It's the same shape, okay? Yeah, it's a hollow hold. It's a lot of core engagement. I think that's all I got for you guys on the 100. Drop any questions if you have any additional questions about that. But I like to think about how I can scale it to work with multiple levels, because in the Pilates studio, we have all level classes. Even if you're working in a leveled class, you're still going to have various levels. So start with the foundation, offer the progressions to build up, because if you start up here and take away, then you're not going to have the early success for your clients when they're coming into the studio, and they won't come back because they're going to be like, that's way too hard, I don't want to do it, or I can't do it, right? So yeah, let me know how you guys like this, and I'm going to make a video for all 34 exercises just to kind of break it down and build it back up so that we can achieve these more advanced moves, because the 100 is the first mat exercise. That doesn't make it easy. That just makes it the foundation, and it's a pumping motion. The whole point is to get the blood pumping through the body, because I'm imagining Joe Pilates sitting in a prison cell and doesn't have very much room, probably as big as the carpet or maybe my room, I don't know. And then he needs to get the blood pumping and flowing through the body. That's the first exercise, connecting the breath to the body, to the heart, because your heart is what's pumping blood, oxygen, everything through the body.